one of the things that really helps me is knowing that even if I go away for the weekend and someone buys a pizza or we go out to a restaurant, knowing that I got to come here on Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, riding the bike, eating the yogurts, that keeps me honest. Now, if we didn't know we had to come here, myself included, what would we do? We'd say, you know, I had this stuff this weekend, I might as well have a few more things this week. It would get out of control. And would anyone mind raising their hand if they agree with me on that? That if we didn't come here, we I didn't have to force anyone. That's the way we feel. Okay, Bobby. All right, so we're talking now, again, it's a sermon about bad things happening to good people. Unexplained suffering is the #1 reason people stop believing in God and stop coming to church. Unexplained suffering. And then somebody even wrote a book saying that after Auschwitz, the guy in the book says, how could you believe in God after living through a concentration camp? And you know, if we think that God is all-powerful and he's going to come down and say, okay, Hitler, stop. He's the creator. He's there for us. The whole free will thing. Could hunger stop in this world? Is there enough food to feed everyone? Yes, there is. He wants us to step up and have the food pantry and help other people and show that we care. Religion comes from the Latin word to bind together. That is what religion is. That is what Pray It Off is. We bind together once a week to come in here and try to live a healthy lifestyle. But then those 7 days in between, we got sick husbands, we got sick kids, we got losses, we got this. But we come together as a group once a week and we say, you know what? Gotta go forward. Gotta go forward. Because if you don't go forward, you're stagnant. We talk about suffering, and there's some things that we're responsible for ourselves. You know, if we, eat, 5 bags of cookies and we gain 3 pounds, we're responsible for that. But, you know, if someone is drunk driving and they hit our car, what did we do? Nothing. So this unexplained suffering, when you sit there, and I remember Elena's mother and father were coming to church. And they were in the car saying the rosary. They're saying the rosary. And they got in a car accident. Somebody hit them. And if you'd say, well, where was God? I mean, they're saying the rosary. They're on their way to church. We're talking chaos. Does that mean that Teresa and John weren't right with God, that God was punishing them? No, they're 2 of the best people I know. And sometimes things happen. And that's where we all go, but why? Why? Let me try to explain this. And sometimes the hardest thing for me to go is to say these 3 words. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea why that happened. I have no idea. But what they did was they kind of, over time, reevaluated their life, and now they're living closer to church. So they're not even going to have to get on the highway. They're not even have to worry about getting in a car accident because they live a lot closer. So we have to take a look at this and say, if you live for just this life, and you know, when I see little babies, like in the obituaries, and I think, oh, that little baby, he didn't even have any life, and I get so upset about that. It's because I'm looking at this life. I'm thinking of high school, college, weddings. But that baby is an eternity. We don't know. We don't know what that's like. We don't know what the plan is. We don't know anything. You know why? Because if we knew, there's a lot of crazy people in this world that would say, heaven is so beautiful, I'm just going to commit suicide, or I'm going to kill this person and get him to heaven sooner. There has to be that mystery because we have the free will. And if we knew how beautiful everything was, we'd give up. Instead of fighting through, we'd say, I'm not going to go through chemotherapy. I'm going to just go to heaven. God wants us to fight because he wants us to be together and he wants us to love. Also, I hit the high points, and I really hope you go home and you read these because they're so powerful. He talks about Job. What a powerful book of the Bible that is. Even God reminded Job that suffering's a mystery. God alone is infinite. and we just can't comprehend it. God did not spare his own son from suffering. Jesus suffered. I mean, the passion, even if you watch the movie and pretend that you were there, which is what I do, that kind of suffering was his own son. Don't you think God could have said, I don't want that to happen? It's the free will. It's to shake us up, to have us realize that kind of love and power. And you know, somewhere in there it talked about being depression, being anger turned inwards. And I froze for a second when I read that. Depression is anger turned inwards. And I realized all the time that I thought I was depressed, like maybe chemically or whatever, I think I was just very angry because life wasn't fair. I didn't think it was supposed to be this way. Why can't, even something as far as food, why can't I eat like my friend Vicky and never gain weight? Why can't I do this? I was angry, but you can't show anger all the time because then no one would want to be your friend, no one would want to be near you. So what do? You eat. And the reason I was able to kind of cure myself with the help of God and pray it off from being depressed is because I stopped being so angry, because I'm trying to understand, I don't get it, I don't know all the answers, but that's okay. That's okay. There's a little story in here. It talks about a little boy who made this special thing for his mother and father, and he went running to the car, and he dropped it, and it smashed into 1,000,000 pieces. And the father says, don't worry about that. You can make another one. It doesn't matter, you know. But the mother held on to the crying boy, picked up all the little pieces, and said, let's take this home. See what we can make out of it. And that's how God treats us. He's not going to maybe save us from losing someone that we love or having some bad things happen to us. But what he will do is he will take those pieces and he'll say, let's see what we can make out of it. And I'll tell you, one of the things that he did for me is I had a lot of pieces. And he said, you're going to do pray it off, and you're going to get together with a group of people, and that's what we're going to make out of this. And I'm very grateful. You might get sick of me every week. You might get sick of me saying the same old things or going, we can do this. But I'm doing it because I feel it's what God wants. And if anyone ever says, Ellen, I'd love to do the meeting, here you go, babe. You can come right up. I'll sit in the audience and I'll cheer you on. So believe me, I will gladly, I mean, I don't mind doing it every week, but if you want to do it every once in a while, there's no problem there either. So if we're willing to partner with God, God can transform our tragedies and our wounds into signs of hope and ensure that something good and something hopeful comes from them. And you know, I don't want to put them on the spot, but you know, Kathy and Teresa and Tom had such a terrible thing happen to them this week. They lost someone they loved very much. But they came this week, and they came because they needed us, and we need them, and that's what this group is all about. And then there's hope in that. There's hope for me that they can give some meaning to their nephew's life by going forward and being the loving and kind people they are. And that's what God wants us to do. Thank you, Bobby.